growing up with abilities to see and feel and know things and be in a family full of unemotional people, let alone highly sensitive, I kind of, suppressed all of that, thinking there was something, it gets translated through the lens of there's something wrong with me, and the shame cycle builds and all that. So, now it's unpacking my own stuff. It's like tearing down the tower and rebuilding the structure, and stepping into the ownership of, predominantly I'm claircognizant, which I find it hard to explain to people, right? Because it's just a sense of knowing. And growing up, I would get bullied actually as a know-it-all. And I couldn't explain how I knew it all. So then I believed I was a know-it-all. And especially from my older brother, who did not like me to know more than he did. So anyway, I've now owned and understand that. And so just knowing when people speak, I'll hear words, or I'll actually see, like, there's like a movie screen in my head, and I'll see things happening on the screen, and just learning that it's safe and it's okay to share those things, and finding out that when I do, it's accurate and it doesn't have, and I always tried to make sense of it, and it wasn't mine to make sense of, right? It was mine to share. So understanding that I'm a conduit and a messenger has definitely been a big part of my knowingness. Even in the dream work, you spoke to that. I've had dreams that were so vivid, and even since childhood, I can tap back into those. And so that has been a practice of understanding and learning all of the different layers and types of dreams, and how to translate that information for us here in this lifetime. And then also understanding, like, I'll get dreams for people I know, and I've learned to deliver those, and hear the outcome of that is amazing. So I've also started helping people with understanding their own dreams and how to translate that. And, I always say, don't buy the book, because the snake does not mean the same thing for every single person. That we all have our own language that's trying to come through us, and that, like Julian Esteban, it's like we all have our own answers. And so we're here to just help people get back to themselves. So yeah, I find that kind of working with the mind, because we're in America and I'm in Silicon Valley, and we've all been taught to lead with the mind, and we've lost touch with the body, self included, and which is where the horses come into place. I was living in such a mode of fear and unsafe. And I went to a horse workshop one day, and literally the woman read my mind. And, like, she heard the exact sentence in my head, and she said it back to me on my way in to meet the horse. And the horses have this ability to calm our body and ground our nervous system. And then we can speak to the mind and put both of them in alignment. And I remember standing in that pen that day. I had had no experience with horses. I had not met anybody like this woman before. And I was terrified, and all of these things were coming up. And I declared in that round pen that day, I want to be that. And now, like literally a month ago, it's also those, our own awareness of saying, oh my God, I'm that. Like today, right now, I'm driving to a ranch to work with horses by myself with a client, and I am that. And then celebrating those little steps along the way. And so everything I practice for myself, I really feel the live it to give it, and like attracts like, right? So that energy draws in the people that need to see, feel, understand the same things that we have gone through. And yet they're different, but we know how to be guides in that realm. And so, and I know you said we'll touch on the grief later, but through all of my life, I've had a lot of, the dark side was normal to me, which is why I stopped sharing my dreams with people, because I'd be like, oh yeah, there's a dead guy in my dream. And you're like, ew, like what kind of dreams are you having? And like, oh really? Like you don't see dead people? Like that's just me? Okay, well, I couldn't share that with anybody. And learning and understanding that that it's a gift, not a curse, right? And when we can look, it's what side of the coin are we looking at? But we need both sides in order to find balance in our life. And that's the shadow work and the light workers. And realizing that, oh, wow, I really do have an ability for transitional life and to connect to it and through it. As a teenager into my early 20s, I used to have the gift of knowing when babies were born, 1 to 2 days before they were born. And I would see them, everything about them. And I knew, and then I'd wake up and I'd call the person and it's like, oh yeah, she's on her way to the hospital right now. And boom, there's a baby. Now, when my mom died, that switched over from birth to death. And even though I kind of had both abilities, I lost the connection to the birthing and got deeper into the connection of death. So I just look at it as, I like to say that I'm the light worker that can carry the flashlight into the darkness with people and go into those really deep, dark, ugly places that we're afraid of in ourselves. And I can't fix it for them, but I can create the safe space, hold that space, and illuminate the pathway through and out of the darkness with support. And the horses, I can do all of this without horses, and adding a horse to the equation as a co-facilitator completely takes us deeper, further, faster, and with more clarity, because it's the validation system of what I'm trying to help them understand. And sometimes they just need to get it from the horse. And so that's the beauty that the